What's up, YouTube? Luso here with Team D Plus Gaming, here to give you another deck profile today. And as you can see, this is Dark World. I know it's a deck a lot of people hate to face, but it's a lot of fun to play in my opinion, and I still like playing it. I've been playing it for probably 6 months now, and it's still one I keep coming back to over and over again. It's actually the first deck I built competitively, so it kind of holds a special place to me there. But not much originality goes into this deck. It's a lot of just knowing the cards, playing it over and over again, so you know how to play it. And you know kind of what to do, how to get out of certain situations. So it's a lot of just getting to know the deck and all of that. So like I said, not much originality in the main deck. I'll show you that. I'll show you this extra deck I have built. And I'll show you kind of some of the non-traditional side decking cards for this one. Of course, I mean, you'll always have staples, but yeah, so getting into things. You've got your 3-Brow, Huntsman of Dark World. When he's discarded, you get to take and draw a card. So helps you kind of the synergy there. You have 3 Snow, Unlight of Dark World. When she's discarded, you get to take and add a Dark World card from deck to hand. So that's monster or spell, which is really good. Helps you fish for the field spell or anything you need. You've got 2 Silva. I'm only running 2 of him at the moment. Discard him, you get a special summon him. Plus he's a virus target, so constantly coming to the field, always good. And 3 Grapha, who is immortal. He comes back to the field time and time again. Once he's in the graveyard, he's essentially on your field every turn, and he's coming back no matter what happened. So it's really good. With the field spells, a 3000 beater. Then you've got 2 Tour Guide. Again, this deck is really good with Tour Guide for the simple fact that Tour Guide has Brow as targets, so you can keep using and reusing Tour Guide over and over again. So that's really good. It's kind of one of the best uses of Tour Guide in decks, I think. So it opens up a lot of plays. You can summon Tour Guide, go into Brow, either bounce Brow back for Grapha, or take and XYZ with it. I mean, so it's really versatile in that respect. Then, to finish out the monsters, you've got 2 Trance Archfiends. Discard a Fiend from your hand to graveyard. This card gains 500 attack. And, so, I mean, you get the effect of discarding. He gains attack, so he's a virus target. And when he's sent from field to graveyard, you get to take and add one of your banished monsters back to your hand. So he's just really well-rounded in respect to this deck. Helps it out a lot. Helps you maintain hand advantage. He's kind of one of the missing pieces that this deck had for quite a while. Moving on into spells, you have 3 Gates of Dark World. Field spell helps with the draw power, helps with the discard effect. Unfortunately, it banishes some cards in your graveyard, but usually there's enough stuff in there that you aren't reusing. So it's, I mean, really good. 3 Dark World Dealings. It's essentially like an upstart, only it helps you more than your opponent. Instead of giving your opponent life points, you get to take and both players draw a card, and then both players discard a card. So you get the discard effect. You're going through your deck faster. That's really good. Kind of you're out to everything in the deck. Drag down. You set the spells and traps in your hand, and so you just have monsters that gain effects. Activate drag down. You get to break into your opponent's hand, get to see what they have, and then kind of ruin whatever strategies you can see. Get rid of staples that they only have one of. So I mean, it's really good. Kind of one of the best cards in the deck. Helps it counter everything. Card destruction, again, helps you go through your hand faster. Helps you go through your opponent's hand faster. Especially if you have your opponent on a virus. That can really kill them. Gateway to Dark World, kind of a new card that made its way back into this deck. Set it during your opponent's turn, you get a special summon, essentially one of your Dark World monsters. So I mean, it's really good. Tribute Grapha for a virus, bring him right back to the field to protect your life points with. And then Monster Reborn is your actual Monster Reborn, of course. Foolish Burial helps you get cards to graveyard like Grapha, so you can keep spamming him to the field, or helps you get Brow to the graveyard early game, so you can banish him with Gates effect. Then, of course, you have your 2 Upstart Goblins, just because giving your opponent 1,000 life points doesn't really matter when you're going for game. Because usually you have either more than enough to go for game, or you need the draw. I mean, there isn't a time when this really hurts you. When like, oh, if my opponent had 2,000 left, I could have OT, or 2,000 less life points, I could have OTK'd. you don't really say that. You're like, oh, I've got an extra 3,000 beater who can attack directly. Didn't need it. I mean, that's kind of what this deck does. It goes for game, it goes big, really fast. And so, I mean, giving your opponent life points isn't that big of a drawback. Allure of Darkness, again, with the extra monsters added to this, it's playable now in this deck, I think. You are still running kind of a low monster count, but not low enough where that's a risk. And you've got Heavy Storm, Dark Hole, again, just staples, then you move into traps. 3 Mind Crush, just because you're looking at your opponent's hand so much. With the viruses and with Drag Down, you really aren't going in blind whenever you use one of these. You always have kind of a heads up of what they have. Plus, I mean, most meta decks search for cards anyways, so you'll see them then. The other thing is with this, you can take, and I mean, if you do happen to call something wrong, you're just discarding a card. So, I mean, oh darn, you get one of your monster's effects, is more or less the way it goes. So, I mean, there really isn't a drawback to that one that most decks have. Then there's 2 Deck Dev viruses and 2 Eradicator Epidemic viruses, just because you don't know what you're facing in game 1, and so having 2 of each helps you to be prepared either way. So, I mean, I like that. There's a lot of hand traps that Deck Dev picks up and gets rid of for you, so that's something that's really helpful. And then Eradicator Epidemic, just in case you do go in spellbooks, you can call spells, and at that point, I mean, you've won the game. There's nothing they can do against that. So that's how the main deck is. Again, kind of pretty standard. You can always side out, especially whichever the virus is, or both that you didn't use. So, I mean, it goes big game 1, tries to draw things out games 2 and 3 a little bit more. So yeah, there it is. Going to the extra deck is full of kind of rank 3s is the primary thing, but there are some others for each of your other levels of monsters you have. 2 Wind Up Zen mains is a good stall monster. Your opponent has to use a lot of resources to get over it that they would have otherwise saved for Grapha or something a little more devastating. Rhythm, Tempo. You have those 2. Rhythm takes and helps you get over big things. It doubles its attack, so up to 36 with the field spell to get over big things. Tempo, just because its effect works so well against Evil Swarm. You can take, even if your opponent bottomless trap holes it, you chain his effect and still get rid of or detach the material, so you can start special summoning again. Leviair helps you retrieve banished monsters, which you then use to bounce back for Grapha. Number 20 Giga Brilliant, use this, powers up your entire field, helps you go for game in situations where you otherwise couldn't have. Number 17 Leviathan Dragon and number 30 Acid Golem. Those are kind of the 2 big beat sticks in the game. I usually go into Acid Golem, especially if I have Silva in the hand, because then he's not a liability. You can just contribute him off the following turn when you don't need the 3,000 attack. You can do that to kind of just negate his bad effect for yourself. So he's really good. He's more playable in this deck than a lot of decks I've seen. So I really like him in this deck. Going to the rank 4s, it's just pretty standard. Maestroke, Photon Pappy, and Utopia. Again, kind of just generic. You don't go into 4s a lot, but they are there in case you need them. The other thing you could add is a Cowboy, but again, he's not really needed in this deck, I don't think. Going to rank 5s, you have Adrius and Tyrus. I mean, a lot of people don't include rank 5s in their Dark World deck, but I don't know, I like him in there, especially if you are using Return from Different Dimension, Games 2 or something. You happen to bring both of your Silvas back, you had gotten into a tough situation, had to banish them. You can take and then just XYZ over them. Or, I mean, there's a lot of times when you do have them on the field at the same time, even though you only have 2, they're easily searched out, and so you can go into those. And, I mean, those just help you open up more plays. So they're kind of there if you need them, not taking up extra room. Because, I mean, there's plenty of room in the extra deck here. Then I've got 2 rank 8s. Heliopolis, of course, kind of the old school rank 8 in here, who's been in the deck forever. Use him for mass destroying of the field. The new guy is number 22 Zombie Stein. He has 4,500 attack, like Neo Galaxy Eyes Photon Dragon was. You only have to use 2 in order to make him instead of 3. Plus he has a destruction effect, same as Heliopolis. So that's really good. I mean, he's kind of the new boss monster in a lot of ways to this deck. And again, making rank 8s in this deck isn't really that risky, for the simple fact that it's Grappa that you're making them with. You detach him, you can just bounce him back to the field. He's immortal. I mean, there's really nothing you can do that gets rid of him permanently unless he's banished. And even then, you've got Return from a Different Dimension in your side deck for games 2 and 3, so that doesn't happen again. Moving on to kind of some side decking cards, like specifically for Dark World. Again, Return from a Different Dimension. I put it in for games 2 and 3 pretty much every time, because you're always banishing stuff with gates. Your opponent happens to pull a Macrocosmos or Dimensional Fissure. You can play into it and bring it all back with Return from a Different Dimension. They don't see it coming. They don't understand why you continue to go off and keep discarding cards even though they're getting removed from play. You can bring them all back at once, XYZ over them so they stay, and they go back to your graveyard. So I mean, that's kind of like the really good play with that one. Dark Smogs shuts off your opponent's graveyard, helps you banish what they have. I actually have 2 of these sided, I think, at the moment. And plus there's another discard outlet. Kind of like the side deck, there's a lot of discarding outlets that are traps instead of spells, because they're, in a lot of ways, they're really good. They have additional effects too, but at the same time, they don't replenish your hand as well as the spells do, so that's kind of their drawback. And why they're sided, in case you happen to run into an opponent who's taking and negating all your spell cards, you can change to traps without too much, or traps and monster effects, I should say, without too much difficulty. Another thing is Royal Decree, because you aren't running many traps main decked, and viruses might not do you much good. Against a really trap-heavy deck, you can take and side in Royal Decree so they can't activate traps. So you can kind of switch either way and kind of manipulate the deck to however counter your opponent you need to. Fabled Raven, just because, like Trance Archfiend, you get to discard monsters by effect, so they gain their effect, and you can do this unlimited times per turn, unlike Trance Archfiend, so that's really good. Gives you another discard outlet. Beige, I run one of him in the side deck, just because when he's discarded, he's special summoned. So, I mean, he helps you kind of continue your plays, whereas a lot of times you'd have to stop, so you bounce the snow back to your hand. You can't re-discard that to special summon it. With this one, you can. Okay, you bounce him back, you can discard him again, you special summon it, bounce him back, and just keep going off. And he helps you keep hand advantage with Grappa in the graveyard, of course, because you keep bouncing him back to your hand, you can discard him again. He's just more fodder for that. The other card that I haven't seen anyone play that's really good, kind of Kite pointed him out to me actually, is Evil Hero Infernal Gainer. With him, you can take normal summon him, since you really don't do a lot of normal summoning. That's not really a cost. But you can normal summon him, use his effect, banish him, he comes back 2 turns later. But what he does is he selects a fiend monster you control, and allows it to attack twice. So now your 3,000 attack Grappa can attack your opponent twice this turn, so that's 6,000, actually that's permanent, not just that turn. So that's 6,000 attack you're getting on your opponent, because usually you've got their field pretty well cleared, and you're in control. So, I mean, he's really good. He adds a lot to the deck. I've liked playing him in there. And, I mean, no one sees him coming. So this is Luso with my Dark World deck profiled here. And signing out.